I feel like I walked into the wrong house.
Oh, you walked into the right house, my friend.
How could it be the wrong house? You were invited.
As we're all invited here by Conics fans to this very spooky edition of the Bi-Conic's Review of Honor. Today is Friday the 13th, and we're here giving our review of one of the longest ass Ring of Honors this year.
I keep pulling it up, expecting it to be shorter, and every time, like, nope, not this week.
I've been on that date. Anyway,
Oh my goodness.
we have had a heck of a week looking at this. I was excited, though, because I got to spend it with you today and with Mikey and with all of you out there in Bi-Conic's Wrestling Podcast. Wonderful galaxy, whatever we're calling you all. You're our fans. We love you. I am JVL. This is Jesse. That is Mikey. We are missing Andrew. I have a hair in my mouth. Yeah.
We're off to a great start.
Honestly, I mean, this is kind of like it was an unexpected thing that happened to me, just like the unexpected promo that opened our show on Ring of Honor this week, right?
Mike,
Someone who hasn't spoken in nigh on a year and a half delivers a bilingual promo to Dasha, of all people, who I also didn't expect.
listen, shout out to Dasha for going between English and Spanish for a good chunk of this episode. I really appreciate it.
Very amazing. But so, did you two expect Serpentico to be so eloquent and actually speak well on the microphone?
Absolutely not. I did not expect
No.
that. I was pleasantly surprised with that.
Well,
I have nothing else to say. I was like, "What? Okay, he doesn't sound like he's talking out of his behind. Okay, he's actually pretty good on the mic. I was impressed.
I know. I never
What about-
expected
what-
someone who got thrown around by Luther for a good chunk of his career to speak.
How
so
does he still have a
eloquently.
brain cell?
I
Jeez.
don't know.
But it did bring up also in that promo something I didn't realize, that he and Eddie Kingston are actually decent friends. Like, they've been friends for a long time on the indies. So this was next match. The first match of the night was going to be a friend versus friend match and a respect match, which led to storyline possibilities. So very interesting in that one. And we transitioned directly to that, to the opening credits, and right to the first match of the night. Serpentico versus Eddie Kingston for the ROH title, or it was a proving ground match.
See, that's where I got confused, because in the opening promo they were talking about, it's a proving ground match, 10-minute time limit, just to give everyone kind of the baseline there. And then the ring announcer called it a 20-minute time limit. So I was very confused about that. What kind of match is it? But before we jump into the match, I want to say and ask the two of you, did this episode feel a little bit bigger, and like the production value was a little bit better than the past few have been?
Definitely.
Yep.
You could tell from the set, they were definitely on somewhere that Dynamite was in the same place, or Collision, I'm sorry, was in the same place. And you can also tell that they were early in the evening, because this is the one downside I had for it. You could see the lack of people in the building. Like, it was very sparse, but yet loud, which was interesting, and not piped in like WWE. Mikey, did you enjoy the up to production value for this, being that it was from where Collision was literally last week that you saw?
You know, I actually did enjoy this, and maybe that's the perfect way to describe how I felt. I was like, something feels a little bit different about this episode, something that I'm not used to. But I really couldn't put my finger on it until you guys mentioned that. I'm like, this definitely feels a lot different.
It didn't, in like the best possible way. It almost felt like when you go from watching episodes of Shotgun Saturday Night and Velocity into watching a full fleshed out Raw. It felt better. Like, I think I want to keep on this trend with ROH with that. I hope they do.
I hope they definitely do, and they continue to utilize more and more of the roster. This was a very diverse roster of people that were on the matches tonight. Yes, we had a couple of matches that we've seen 4 or 5 times, but at least there was a good amount of people that we got to know in different ways, such as this. Seeing Serpentico hang for as long as he did, like, I thought this would be a quick squash because Serpentico is known to be the jobber to the stars. Did we think that this was a believable opponent for Eddie Kingston, or was kind of a one-off, like we're just getting it out of the way early?
I certainly didn't take it as a believable challenge, but I like that they're kind of planting the storyline and seeds with him, with Serpentico, and with Angelico as well. I kind of enjoyed that they're threading those together, and I want to see what happens with it. No, I didn't think it was a credible challenge for the title. I didn't think that Eddie was going to walk away, but I was actually really surprised at how the ending came about, like with the tap out ending that, to me, I know you said that you were surprised he went as long, but it seemed like a pretty quick match, but not a squash.
Super quick. From what I know of Serpentico, though, especially while he was with Luther, he was known as basically like he would get the crap kicked out of him for about 3 minutes, and then that'd be it. So this was I thought he might have lasted a bit longer, but he actually got more offense than I thought he would in this one, which is surprising against Eddie Kingston. Mikey, you knowing Serpentico from the early days of Dark and Dark Elevation, do you think they're trying to push SAP? Do you think they're trying to make this a thing? Or was this just because of a previous relationship with Eddie?
I think I'm gonna side on there. Potentially might be pushing SAP because Lord knows we need tag teams right now because majority of them are off doing other things at the moment. I also agree with Jesse. No, I did not believe Serpentico was a legit challenge. I still enjoyed the match, and in a weird way, I love seeing the evolution that Serpentico has gotten, being literally being thrown around as a battering ram, to kind of be everyone forgetting. It's like, oh yeah, he's pretty decent in the ring when you give him a chance.
Definitely is. So, as you said, this was a quick squash match. Serpentico did not prove himself in the proving ground. He will not get a shot at the title, and it was kind of a very quick punch to the face way to start the evening. At that point,
it was like an amuse bouche for the fight,
which we then got the next amuse bouche. This is like a 7-course meal because the GOA took on 2 jobbers with their entire faction out there with them, lights, camera, faction, and beat the living snot out of them and the rest of the faction. Like, was it 6 people were there and they all got their asses kicked?
Every single one after the first one had his hand bit at the start of the match, just chomping right down on it.
Jeez Louise.
Oh, Toa.
They're called the gates of agony for a reason. They're going to bring the pain every single time.
They are, and this was nothing but pain.
No, and I think when Tua had that charge from the corner, just completely turned Watson inside out. It was beautiful, and Watson's going to have a good career selling, if nothing else.
That's the best way you can put it there. Did everyone enjoy the severe double clothesline that these two pulled off, basically?
Oh
that
my gosh.
MJF and Adam Cole could never do?
That they still can't
Everything they do looks like it's hurt, so of course I'm going to enjoy it.
Of course.
There's something on your face. It was pain.
I feel like I want Nana to say that at some point. It's like, it is pain, and have that come out there.
There is something on your face. Again, it was pain.
Oh, my lords. So we had 2 squash matches basically in a row. Quick start to the night, and I'm like, okay, this seems like they're getting through the card pretty quick. Maybe this will be a quick one. It wasn't.
Nope.
We went to our first promo after the opening promo of the night. Dasha again backstage with Daga, which surprised me, and especially because wasn't Daga engaged to Blanchard, Tessa Blanchard for a while, and that was the reason she wasn't coming back during COVID. Like, they were in some tumultuous thing and they got in trouble down in Mexico. I seem to remember this somewhere.
Allegedly.
I'll have to take your word on it. I blacked out when you said Blanchard's like, Tully Blanchard, really? But,
Tully Blanchard's daughter.
I was very impressed.
But so basically that's what threw me here is he's on Ring of Honor TV competing for a AAA title. I thought he had been blackballed from pretty much all of wrestling. But that was me. Am I wrong on this one, Mikey? Am I remembering it correctly?
I feel like we're mixing some wrestlers together. Allegedly, I believe that there was a connection between Tessa and Daga here. But I don't think he got blacklisted per se. I know another Lucha Libre star who got blacklisted, but we try not to talk about her too often.
Nor should we. I know who you're talking about, and no, we're not talking about her at all. But yeah, so that was surprising to me to see Daga on my TV, especially for this reason, setting up a match with QT Marshall for the AAA Latin American Championship,
oh my
which
God,
I still love
that
Guido from New Jersey has. It's so good. We'll talk about it later.
Did you like the promo, though? Aside from it serving its purpose.
It wasn't anything special to me.
See, that's where, I don't 100% disagree. I thought it wasn't something special, but I thought it was a good way to help establish the Latin American Championship for people who don't know what that is.
That's very true, especially for any rules or anything else. You're right, because it's only been on ROH, I think, twice or 3 times. It hasn't been on that much, and it's not one of their homegrown belts, so obviously they would want to set that up and do that. So
And somebody who maybe just watches WWE and then they're kind of dipping their toe into what else is out there. They see a Ring of Honor and they see this different belt. It kind of leads into, okay, where does that belt coming from? What is that league? I want to know more about that.
Very true. It is very true, and especially with this, also with AAA being so far in bed with AEW in that respect, and so like CLL can't do that, so therefore it's certain types of Mexican promotions they can work with. This sets that up as well. But we have our setup there, and then we have our first women's match of the night. We have another proving ground match between Athena and Maserati. Oh, Mikey,
That's the right reaction,
I
Mikey.
want your reactions here, Mikey, please.
Well, that
Please
was
go into
that
this.
was a twofold. So number one, the name Maserati, I was like, really, is this what we're doing? I'm like, sure, why not? And then
With
me putting
Uzis.
putting my forehead into my hand. Did anyone else feel that Athena Athena literally like decimated this whole girl? Like Maserati was in and out, and I was like, Athena, do we have personal issues with Maserati? Because I feel like we're hitting a little harder than we normally do. And then when she threw her into the barricade like excessively, I was like,
The
what is
corner
happening?
of the barricade. The
Yes.
corner.
Even before that spot, how hard she threw her down on the power bomb, like didn't release at any point. That was 100% a receipt. Athena was pissed about something, and my guess is Maserati was moving too fast, not fluidly enough, and Athena was not happy. So that was definitely a receipt because I definitely caught there was a botched dive that turned into a ring escape,
Yep.
and that made Athena mad. And then there was a couple of potatoes thrown by Maserati, which definitely pissed Athena off to the point where Athena grabbed her by the face, had her in that front face lock, and just screamed at her to slow down. So that power bomb and then the throw into the barricade, definitely receipt and a little warranted. Maserati, I mean, they're talking about her experience in the local town that they were in. Great, but wasn't prepared to wrestle that style, and Athena was not having it.
No, not at all. And I will say it was nice to see a match put together with multiple different beats to it, with the actual submission spot, the beatdown spots, and those other things that were kind of missed in the botch. Worked well enough, but yes, it was all over but the crying, basically, from the opening bell. I enjoyed Billy Starks hiding her under the ring.
That was beautiful. That made me smile. I was very, very happy with that.
And we know something's going to come of it because Athena goes, "You better not be lying to me." And we heard on camera, "Oh no, I'm not lying." Like, oh, this is going to come back to bite everybody right now. But Athena wins handily again, not unexpected. She's now what, 41-0, 40-0. She's
I think it was 41.
41-0, so she is becoming the longest running and most decorated champion, male or female, in ROH history. So this is humongous. We are so glad to have her aboard, and a lot of just promoting women's matches on there as well. So again, the commentary was all about that tonight. So easily, probably a very big, like, squash. Everything in the way. We're just running through everybody here. We then jump to a promo that didn't need to be on this show, in my opinion. I don't know
need to be on any show.
It didn't need to be here because we've had this promo 3 times and it makes no sense anymore. We get it. You're trying to recruit Lee Johnson, but the Shane Taylor Promotions interrupts him again with Lexi Nair.
Do we really need to say anything else?
No,
do something different.
Really.
It feels to me every time we have this promo, it's like they're trying to have a new comedy bit and they're trying out new jokes and it's not landed once.
I don't know what that's like.
It's because nobody's honest with you.
Oh my gosh.
Shots fired and you're in the room.
That was horrible and accurate.
I'm getting harassed from 2 time zones. This is ridiculous.
You're welcome.
Oh,
no, that's called skill, not ridiculous.
That's interesting. That's an interesting way of putting it.
Okay, and moving on to the next match.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
how
you
interested we were in talking about that segment.
There was nothing to do about that. Literally, it was a 3-second 3-line promo and we were done. And we moved on to the match set up earlier in the night, QT Marshall versus Daga. And before they start, QT has to go into a full promo where he speaks broken, if not good, Spanish. And yeah, go ahead, Mikey. Go for it. And you have to.
You own this one.
So, okay. Hi. I don't know if anybody on the internet knows this about me, but I am a very spicy Latino man. Yep. Okay? And there is a slight pleasure that I get from white people not understanding what certain curse words in Spanish mean, and they think it's a term and endearment. And in some circles, it can be. But I love the fact that QT thought it was a good idea to get the crowd to do this. And I laughed really hard when, Daga had to explain to him, they literally, they're calling you an asshole.
And I agree with them.
They're not
Now,
wrong. That was hilarious.
Yes, that's the nice way of putting it, because culero has more connotations that we're not going to say on television or
Of course
on
not.
the internet, at least. So asshole is probably the tamest way to put it, because there's layers to it.
How many times am I gonna have to use the LA Knight? Yeah, this time during this recording is what I'm gonna have to
Oh,
figure out.
you gotta use it absolutely fucking a lot. No, I'm gonna curse on purpose
Wait,
now.
we do. But this was a pretty acrobatic and like back and forth match. Like
This
this was
was
really
fun
well
for
put
me.
together.
I enjoyed this one.
It was fun. It was athletic. For me, it was a good way to showcase Daga, who I'm not familiar with outside of this. So it was really good to see him work. It was really, really funny. Like I laughed right out loud when QT Marshall was arguing with Aubrey Edwards in Spanish. Uno, dos, tres. That made me
Listen,
laugh. That gave me a good chuckle.
Aubrey's great. I love her so much.
Is it me, or, and I don't know if you'll know this from not having watched too much of it, but is it me, or does Daga move and like kind of have the same kind of moveset as Commander? It seems very similar. I'm not sure.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of the AAA guys end up having similar move sets, but that's because it's like nonstop fly throwing each other against the wall and into each other.
Right.
So
I don't
I'm
know. He just
I'm
seemed like he seemed eerily familiar like that way. Like there was some differentiation, but it just seemed like this was like Commander does. Don't know why, and not with the tightrope walking either, which is strange. But overall, this was up there for one of my matches of the night. I really enjoyed how they put together the match itself, and how QT Marshall basically stole a pin from who he's going out or calling out for his next opponent. Which I couldn't hear it over the broadcast well enough who they said he stole the move from, but it's one of the champions down in AAA.
Evidently, it's one of the legends down there.
I
I didn't
forgot
catch
what
It
the
the name of
sounded
it.
like
moniker
La
is, but
Casita, but
it's Casa Negro, I think, is what they said.
yeah, he stole his pin, his signature pin, and used that to beat him. So that's why. But it was an interesting one overall. I was excited going out of that. Then correct me on if I'm wrong on this, guys.
You're wrong.
Thank you. I'm extremely angry about the next thing that came up. Not because of who was in it, but because it was pre-taped.
Okay.
And I didn't have live Dalton Castle on my TV
Okay.
screen.
All right. You had me in the first half there because I really liked the video package.
The video package was stellar, and it got everyone involved to understand who Dalton Castle is. But instead of a video package, let the man be live. Let him be on my TV screen. He can sell himself better than any video package can.
That's fair. I'll agree with you on that one.
He's currently going back to the drawing board, because that's something that happened last week on Ring of Honor. He's like, I need to go back to the drawing board. I need to figure out what I'm doing. And that's essentially
He's had a couple of
doing.
promos the last couple of weeks like that, where he's been very like in his head, like he can't get anywhere. And so
He
I
wore
want to see
a
what
plain
Dalton
white
Castle does.
T-shirt last week, and I was like, "What
I know.
is happening?"
Something is wrong. I have to buy all my Peacock merch right now. So the power of the Peacock is there. But we had that wonderful video package. Please do at Shop Anywhere.
Right?
We then got the Infantry versus Shane Taylor Productions, which again I've seen this match multiple times.
Okay, so
Jesse, talk to me about this.
First and foremost, I have a problem with Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman here. I need you guys to figure out whether you want to call them Shane Taylor Productions or Shane Taylor Promotions, because they use the two words interchangeably. And for the continuity's sake, I need you to figure out what I'm going to do. So
I need it for the simplicity of my notes. I've written down productions, crossed it out, wrote promotions, crossed it out, wrote production. Like, will you just pick one?
Shane Taylor Peas.
That's far worse.
I know he does it, though. It's not like I'm saying it's not.
No, thanks. Let's not jump into that conversation.
No.
Okay, back to the match.
Do we have to talk about it?
I'll keep it simple. I thought it was a good match. It was very athletic. We've seen it a bunch of times. For me, the infantry is always fun to watch. I didn't like them at first, but they're growing on me and they're fun to watch. I like the how they work together. They just work really well together. Aside from that, the match was what it was. We knew what was going to happen. It was going to be a build up to Shane Taylor coming and wreck everyone and get the pin.
And this time it was from
Promotion production.
a straight punch too. Like this
Yeah.
was like a knockout punch, which is really brutal. I did say this off camera. I enjoyed it. This is like the night where I picked up a lot of what commentary was saying. And Ian Riccaboni said, "Dance too much and you get hit in the mouth. It happens to all of us at some point." And everything in my head was like, "Who hurt you, Ian? Are you all right? Are you
That
safe?"
is not a universal experience.
And nor should it be. Like, do you need help, Ian? We're here. Blink twice for yes,
like,
once for no.
Ian, I've never had that problem. I've never gotten punched in the face for dancing. So I was just like, sure.
That's because you're fun to watch dance.
Make them. Oh, nope, not going to say it.
Someone's mom just walked in the room. Anyway.
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
I
Make
tried
it
that
rain
before,
and
but that really
drizzle.
hurt.
Making it rain?
No, well, I mean, they threw nickels at me, so they made it hail.
They made it drizzle.
They made it hail.
Make it hail. Ah! So we move on from a very hard-hitting match ending with a giant punch to the face to a verbal punch to the face while Billy Starks is being interviewed by her new bestie, Lexi. Mercedes Martinez and Diamante.
She called her out.
Called her out and tried to get Billy to leave Athena's service. And this was a really cool kind of setup where Mercedes did most of the talking and Diamante was like a parrot inside, just like yelling like small things here and there.
I felt so bad for Billy after this. I liked this promo, but I didn't like how this promo made me feel because I just wanted to go and protect Billy from all the nonsense.
They did the most rudest thing anyone can do and they took Billy's fanny pack, and that was crossing the line for me. I was just like, how dare you steal her purple fanny pack?
The one where she put the thing a couple weeks ago, she put something she wasn't supposed to in there. Like she stole something. I forget what it was. But so that could be like they're going to find whatever piece of like thing this is to make Athena pissed off. It's going to be something to drive her nuts. But still glad to see them both on there, and Lexi kind of like passing along like Athena's a good person. Athena's you should be okay. Like peer pressuring because she's got Stockholm syndrome from being her bestie for so long. But we move on from this promo to we're going through it. This is how the night went. It was like bang, 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 bang. We had Angelico come back out and fight off Mighty Moth or Martin the Moth, Marty Casao is what they said.
Marty the Moth Martinez from Lucha Underground.
Exactly. And his dancing was worse, but also much more fun than Angelico's.
This match was pure entertainment. And of course, got to do the Weekend at Bernie's, be like, with Angelico.
Yeah. Goofy wrestling for life.
This match was so much fun for me. He just moves very goofily, and it makes me feel a little uncomfortable and unsettled, and in like the best possible way. I liked the whole bit where he's hitting himself against the turnbuckle. That this is how you actually do that.
Yep.
To me, he kind of stole the show. I'm not going to say this is match of the night, but he stole the show for me for the entire night.
My favorite part of him was him yelling, "Stop kicking out."
Yeah, that was good too.
It's like every time.
Oh my goodness. And I mean, to be fair,
this is what comedy wrestling can be.
Yeah.
They do.
And it was still talented. It was still talented, very athletic, a lot of good moves getting performed, but it was fun and goofy, and I loved it. I loved this match.
Mikey, overall, like I know Marty the Moth from Lucha Underground. Like, did he live up to what it was before? Was this a little bit like kind of like drained down? Like, what was it?
So, a lot of the quirks that Mr. Casao had during this match is pretty much the same that he had in Lucha Underground. I will say that this version of him is a little more kinkier because, like, when he was getting thrown into a turnbuckle, there's the faces he made. I was like, "Sir, we need to rein it back a little bit." I was like, Friday night.
He needs to go full into it. This is entertainment.
Your Friday nights are showing on television screen. I'm a little uncomfortable, but I'm also kind of here for it, though I don't know what that says about me.
That there's truth in advertising when you look at someone that's having that much fun doing what he's doing, basically.
This was such an entertaining match. I love it. And Angelico is all... I always love watching Angelico wrestle because I feel like he's very underrated. And then because these two have history, because both of them were in Lucha Underground, so they all had cross paths multiple times while that promotion was alive. It was a lot of fun to see this mini reunion, especially for those of us that loved all the talent in Lucha Underground and were introduced to a lot of the people that are still wrestling nowadays. Just hated the fact that bad management ruined it all.
Well, and the fact that the conceit of the actual thing was hard to keep people there because they thought they could book it like an actual TV show instead of actually like wrestling, and they couldn't go either way on it. But this was a fun match. I love good comedy wrestling. It made me happy to be here. I was having fun so far this evening watching ROH, which
Yeah.
I wasn't last night on Dynamite for certain pieces. So we then get another amazing women's match, and this is where I kept hearing from Caprice, ROH, where women can be in the main event at all times. So they are the main event only here, and talking about how AEW is wasting the women's talent and wasting the
I
women's roster.
loved that they were calling pot shots at everybody and anybody.
They were taking him down while watching an amazing match between Lady Frost and Mercedes Martinez with
This match
Diamante.
ruled.
Correct them where they were wrong.
There is no lie.
They weren't. They
no
weren't lying at all.
It's the fact that they were allowed to say that live, and it still got through and on the broadcast. Like, this wasn't something else. Like, this was approved, and like they're touting this as the line of ROH. It's kind of weirdly hypocritical or ignorant, because if you're allowing them to say that and like you want to make sure people know this, why can't you do better on your other products? Like, what is stopping you?
Because I don't think it's the same people booking these shows. We have Stokely, Jerry Lynn, and Maria.
There was one of the lines that, I'll be honest, you may have to use your device here, pissed me off. You can't say it's where women could be in the main event and then not have the women in the main event tonight. There's a match coming up that I'm going to say should have been the main event, but we'll get there. We'll talk about that. But let's go back to Mercedes Martinez versus Lady Frost.
Yes. But shots fired. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah.
You're a little salty here. Yeah, very salty.
I'm a country ham. So the match, to me, it was good enough.
Baked goods.
Lady Frost is getting better every week. Every time I watch her perform, she gets a little bit cleaner, a little bit faster, a little bit better, and I'm really enjoying watching her growth. But for the love of everything holy and unholy, can we please get her a win? She's yet to win since she's debuted. You're going to relegate her to enhancement talent before she's even really got to go off in her own talent.
She's a gatekeeper mostly in this respect because she is a veteran. She's been around for quite a while, helping people out, both in down in Mexico and also up here. And you could tell Mercedes and her have wrestled before. Like, they knew each other very well on this one because they got away with a lot of stuff that she hasn't been able to do with other people there. But this was also Mercedes Martinez working a style that she hasn't worked in a while. Like, she wasn't a full blown technical wrestler. She wasn't going for the Brass City Sleeper. This was just a beat down, which she, I think, is trying to show Diamante how to do better because Diamante's had problems with that. Mikey, you are a stan for Mercedes Martinez. You have stanned her since day one. Give me your kind of walkthrough. Like, what did she do in this match that's so inventive for her usually?
Well, first and foremost, yes, I agree with your sentiment. Mercedes Martinez is my girl. I will forever and a day never complain when she's on my screen. I really enjoyed this match because, okay, so getting really nerdy real quick. So Lady Ross has been wrestling for quite some time, but she's also being the gatekeeper role, but she's, in a weird way, she's been wrestling for quite some time, but she also started really late in the game when it comes to wrestling, because she's about to be in her 40s and she started wrestling like maybe 7 to 10 years ago, given the time frame.
She's the DDP of that stuff right there. She started late in life.
So I also love Lady Frost because, again, now she's in Ring of Honor, but I was introduced to her via Impact Wrestling. And listen, there's a match between her and Jordan Grace that was just chef's kiss. It was beautiful to watch. I felt this was a different match for Mercedes because usually, depending on the opponent, Mercedes will usually either go in with two different styles. She will be more technical if her opponent is more technically sound. And if you want to make a statement using Martinez, then she'll just beat the bricks off somebody. But but Lady Frost is kind of a combination of those both. And I saw there were points where Mercedes tried to go one way or the other with her styles and found out that Lady Frost had a slight counter to those things, which made the match really more interesting for me. And ultimately, Mercedes had to tap into that third kind of lane that she tends to find herself in, where she's like, I need to go in, I need to go hard, I need to go fast. I need to cut the legs underneath for my opponent because they're answering everything that I'm throwing at them. So I need this to end now.
And the finisher, talk about inventive and talk about something I haven't seen a lot of people do. And you have the right opponent to do it with. A razor's edge into a dominator? Like, who does that?
Mercedes Martinez now.
Thank you.
20 plus years, man. You learn to pick up a lot of things and have an arsenal.
Literally pick them up. But she wins handily, takes it down. Diamante also like talking to the camera. I here's the thing. I love Diamante. I'm a stand for Diamante. I was like, she needs to go after Athena right before she did. She doesn't know how to be a second. She's still not seeming comfortable. Like she's trying to talk at weird times and like trying to sound tough. But when you have Mercedes Martinez, who's basically the Terminator next to you, you don't need to talk. You're a heavy. You're just being there, and she seems to ruin herself every time she opens her mouth now.
She needs to understand that being in that second role with somebody like Mercedes Martinez, less is more. We even saw that kind of didn't know where to stand, didn't know where her placement was when they had the entrance,
which is the second or third time that's happened.
Yeah,
I feel like she's
within
she's
just a few weeks as well.
Right, she's not taking notes on that, which I think once she does that, she'll be ready to kind of step out from the shadow and do more stuff. But she just seems very uncomfortable having to be a part of a double act right now. And I don't know whether that's on purpose or whether she's trying to get better at it and it's just not working. I don't know. Did you notice at all, Mikey, that she's kind of floating a bit?
I think what it is I think Diamante is kind of, I don't want to say she's floundering a little bit, but I think because given the last time she had somebody to work with, it ended very messily per se because of all the backstage stuff that happened between her and her former tag team partner. And of course, again, I'm allowed to perpetuate stereotypes because I am a Latin man, so I'm allowed to say this, but Diamante is a fiery Latina woman, and she, through and through, is very strong, very independent, very hard headed. I know this from firsthand experience. But I think because Diamante is so young in her career, because she hasn't been wrestling for too long, so what, like 6, 7 years at this point, and then you have like 2 decades worth of experience in Mercedes Martinez. I think Diamante will get there with time, and I think Mercedes is the perfect person to pair her up with in order to kind of show her the ropes, to kind of help her, take her character, find small little nuances with it, but it's going to take some growing pains, and that's what we're seeing right now.
The views of Mikey do not reflect the views of the BC WrestlePod. Stereotypes are not to be perpetuated by anyone at any point. We like to keep it here where we love everyone and make sure that everyone's diversity is welcomed
and celebrated.
And celebrated. How dare you, Mikey?
Stereotypes are not funny.
They're not.
Hold the front door. Hold. I was like, how are you as a white man going to tell me what I can and cannot do with my stereotypes?
How dare you assume my race? Yes, I'm translucent. I get it, but you're not supposed to either way. We're going to move along.
But damn, you are.
Like a Victorian ghost. Right through you.
My future self is going back to the future to try to save something, and obviously I'm disappearing.
Yeah, you're losing that thread. Let's keep going.
I'm losing it wholeheartedly. A thread that was also lost and seemed like it was two promos in one, which was the next promo we had with Josh Woods.
Nice.
What was this?
This was Mark Sterling pulling at something to get a coach for Josh, which was a guy he's already faced in Pat Buck. But now Pat Buck, he doesn't, like, obviously being the cocky ass that he is, Josh says no.
I didn't get this. This was just like, it exists. Cool. Pat Buck's got an orange beard. Great. That's what I got out of that promo.
I was
Pat
so
dollars
perplexed.
For Sheamus right now.
I was like, this is the most like ginger I have seen lately. I was like, what is happening?
He got into Sheamus's hair dye is basically what ended up happening.
Dollar store Sheamus. And then how to pronounce it. He's sea moose.
Shamus.
Oh,
It's pronounced Shamus.
Shamoos.
But
save the
Pat Buck
die.
then Pat Buck being insulted by the fact that he didn't want to take him on as a coach even before it was offered, challenges him to a pure rules match on the next Dynamite, which will be insanely awesome. But I feel like this was like it was way too contrived to be good. This promo was just weird
Josh was too
overall.
rigid. Josh was too rigid. I was just like, you're not hitting the marks. Like the inflections are off. It looks like, how do I put this? Josh's delivery of his promo through this whole thing, it reminded me of like an eighth grade like group project where you have to make a video and you have a script, but you have that one person in the group who's like, "Oh, it's very even keeled. I'm gonna deliver all my lines like this. Oh no, that's crazy. What are we doing? Ah."
What do you mean, Mikey? I don't think anyone here has ever had that experience, lived
None,
or unlived.
none of us have, and of course, who would have that experience if you lived in a society where people all work together on the same level playing field and don't assume each other's races that they talk to each other? So therefore, why?
Wow, that's crazy. You can tell by my emotion
Whoa.
that I find this shocking.
Josh Woods did the Anthony Henry of promos.
It honestly, that promo made me feel like I could see the teleprompt for them.
Pretty much. What was that?
I love Josh, but this was not it for him. I was like,
It was.
Joshua,
I was.
come on.
I'm excited to see the match next week. I'm excited to see him wreck Pat Buck, and I was glad it was over quickly. Mark Sterling was busy tonight, and apparently the commentator was saying he's going to be busy next week with all the stuff going on. But we move on to my match of the night.
Mine as well. We've got
Same,
Mikey. I don't know about you.
same.
Okay, because we've got 1999 ECW clearly Taz versus Rhino here. Because that's what the match felt like in the best possible way, and I absolutely loved it. It was my match of the night. It was just, it was fun. It was brutal. That corner spot where Willow had smacked her head, the back of her head on the turnbuckle.
Oh
Oh
my
my god! Like I
gosh.
immediately was like, oh my god, is she okay? But this match was just great. Legit, Layla Hirsch is a modern day Taz. I know Hook's, his son, but she's got the style and the stature definitely helps there.
The spiritual daughter, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to slightly disagree with you because I don't think it's. I agree. It's old ECW. I don't think it's Taz Rhino.
Who?
I think it's Taz Bam Bam. Because Willow is much more athletic than Rhino was and bigger. She was like Bam Bam Bigelow, and basically, if they'd put each other through the ring, it would have been the perfect like homage to it.
Okay, I can adjust my statement and agree with that.
You don't have to agree with that. That's where I saw it. My thing with it was as well. I also love the continuity that's going on with Willow and Sky Blue and all this stuff with Willow becoming more intense and more reckless with her things because of the influence of the House of Black. Like the eye makeup's getting bigger, the corruption is there, and Layla kind of just ran into that buzzsaw and she held her own.
She did, and honestly, through this whole match, I didn't know who was going to come out on top. I had an inkling it would have been Willow, but it was one of those ones where I was excited of the journey of how we were going to get there.
Which was a lot more counterific than I thought it would be. Like they really played off the size difference in the counters, and it was so much fun. Mikey, give us your input on this and the beatdown afterwards to save Willow from Layla.
Listen, between Athena and Willow, they're neck and neck right now for my favorite women's wrestlers this year. Like, I mean, Willow every time she wrestles continues to prove that while a lot of people may dismiss her because of her cutesy little entrance music and her cutesy little bubbly personality, you you just need, it only takes one wrong move and Willow will literally go all crazy on you. She will throw you, she will hurt you. She's very agile, but I also love that Layla was a good counter for Willow because, again, size wise, on paper, you're just like, Layla probably has a little slight disadvantage. No, it's because of her size, she's able to do the things she's able to do.
It's
And
true.
again, another instance where Layla and Willow were able to counter each other through different things. And then, of course, the post match beatdown. I loved it. Layla is continuing this streak of like, all right, I'm just gonna beat you up right now. And then Sky Blue comes out, and listen, Sky Blue, you're doing great. You're one of my favorites. And again, continuity. It's not that hard, you guys. Continuity is not that hard to accomplish. Just I love that more every time I see Sky more and more, she just looks more and more like she walked into a Spencer's or a Hot Topic and just like, I'll take this.
She's definitely like evolving into a more dynamically dark version of herself, very intense.
She is
The
what
other thing I
Cora
didn't know
Jade thinks she is.
exactly. Oh, wow. Oh, spicy.
Take a breath.
Ha.
Don't get
So
me
she keeps
wrong.
going.
I love Cora. I don't like healed Cora. I never have. I liked more punk rocker Cora Jade than this dominatrix with the kendo stick Cora Jade.
It's
Also,
going to
I'm
be
also
interesting to see where this goes.
afraid. That's as far as I'll go because I don't want to say anything because her boyfriend will kill me if we ever met in real life. I, Braun Breaker will kill me.
I'm not going to comment on that. Just if Sky Blue keeps exploring these darker themes, darker clothes, things like that, or is she going to have to change her name? And Sky Blue turns to Cobalt and then turns to Navy. Like, is that the route we're going to have to go down?
Deep blue.
Listen, as
She
long as
plays
we get some
chess.
sort of iteration between her, Willow, and Julia Hart, I will be here for it.
Yeah,
There's
I
gonna
completely
be
agree with that.
like a guest house of black happening soon. It's gonna be very interesting.
The Carriage House of
The
Black.
carriage house of black. The other thing I
Yeah,
wanted to ask before we get off this match though is, did anyone notice during Layla's entrance, she's starting to seem less sure of herself? Like she's playing up that like she has the demeanor, and then she walks down, she's looking like just not knowing if she's ready after the last couple losses she's taken. She seems to be like actually selling that on herself, which is making me care about her more.
I didn't pick up on that, but I'll have to keep an eye on that for the next time because that's going to show growth and development. So I'll have to go back and look at that.
There was a little bit of acting I caught, especially in her entrance and when she was waiting for Willow to enter before she turned it back on when Willow was coming in to be like mean. But there was like a doe-eyed look there for a second where she was like not sure what was going on. It was I couldn't tell if it was real or not. I enjoyed it. Please do more of that. Evolve the character.
right. I would love to see like if when this evolves. One of my favorite tropes with this is that I'm interested to see if Layla starts to lean into the sense of urgency a lot more in her matches. She's like, after loss, eventually you just start throwing anything and everything, and you stop thinking, and the urgency takes in. Again, I'm excited. I love Layla. I love Lilo. This was my match of the night, hands down, just because of a variety of reasons.
Now let's keep that thread, and we're going to go back to something I alluded to earlier.
Okay.
The commentary team that had pissed me off. This should have been your main event. The main event, we'll get there, and I'll give my 2 cents when we get there.
This
But this should have been your main
This
event.
should have been the main event.
This was the
100%.
second week in the row where I have said that the main event and the match that I considered my main event should have been switched because me and Andrew said, "Why did you open with Athena versus Layla? We got a 20-minute match, and you should have swapped that for the main event we got with the 6-man tag." And I was like, "What? How?" The program. Listen, Ring of Honor, we need to fix this programming like immediately because
You're just doing your matches out of order, and you're blowing up the crowd, and they can't get into it later because they've already seen all of the good matches, and now they don't care.
And they're also, especially when you're looking in this way, it was still filing in for the show afterwards. The crowd was blown and waiting for Collision to start. At that point, they had been like, I've seen enough good stuff that my pre-show, like Amuse Bouche has been wet. I need to now go on to this.
Yeah, like after this match, it's a 40-minute bathroom break for the crowd.
I don't know. I enjoyed the next match.
I'm not saying I didn't enjoy them, but they've already seen enough for like, okay, I'm going to blow myself up. I'm going to be too exhausted for the rest of it, so I need to take a break.
It is an event, apparently, according to our friends that have gone to it, where Collision and ROH tapings take forever, and you see so much wrestling. But it's also a fun experience, and one I hope to have at some point.
Speaking of fun experiences and so much wrestling,
And
on to the next match.
And agile fat guys.
Agile fat guys.
I mean, we were talking about that with Bam Bam Bigelow
Gringo
earlier.
Loco is invited to. He's invited to the quinceañera. Is how we're gonna put it. He's invited to the
Yes, he's been invited to the quinceañera, and I was extremely happy to see Action Andretti as a singles competitor this time because
And
he's
not
much
in a
better off being
trios.
Yes. Yes, he is wasted in a tag. He's wasted in trios. He needs to be able to be on his own.
I loved Gringo getting frustrated in this match. Every time he tried to do something or start to come back from something, Andretti had an answer, and he got visibly and physically angry. And
He
he's always talked about
slapped
like talking
Action at one point. He's like,
directly in the chest. It was so good. This was all about emotion because they have the same kind of move set. I don't know about you two. Like, did you two take anything away from this, like other than the fact that these two need to work together on a weekly basis?
I was impressed at how fluid they both are working together. Like, I'm not sure how familiar they are with each other, but if it's just natural chemistry, they need to find a way to harness that. And I mean, I wanted Gringo Loco to win. That's my only gripe with the match. But aside from that, I enjoyed this match overall.
I agree. I really enjoyed this match. I love seeing Action as a single star. Um, Ring of Honor. I know we're still trying to figure out, what we want to do, but why have we not signed this man? That's a question I always ask every time he's on my screen. And I don't know all the
He's been
behind the scenes stuff, but there is a lot of potential with Gringo Loco to be a regular in Ring of Honor. I'm just saying.
plus the fact
He should be.
he's been in every multi-man match they've had luchadors in too. Like he works all the styles. He works very well with a lot of the talent on the roster. It's time to put him in.
Listen, somebody gave me a quick bootleg version because he took on Swerve at the Defy Wrestling event in Washington while Wrestle Dream was there, and my God, that you want to talk about working well with people? Jesus, that match was baller.
We'll have to go back and see that somewhere.
Yeah, maybe you can send us that.
Bootleg copy. Do we? Not that we're supporting bootlegging. But,
No.
the other thing I did love, we brought up 90s ECW in this.
Yep.
Andretti wins with a Rob Van Dam moonsault. The split leg on the top.
Oh
rope
yeah, the
moonsault.
split leg moonsault. Yeah.
Like he won with the. I was like, of course, like that. I wrote that down because I didn't catch the thing earlier. But yeah, this was literally like an ECW tribute night for a lot of the stuff. They got a lot
For
of
a few
stuff in
things,
there.
yeah. I will say, and this is going to be a conversation for a bigger video. Everyone loves a split leg moonsault. Everyone craps on the Starship Pain.
I feel like the Starship Pain in general is just so contrived versus the split leg moonsault that it's just because you're having to get the extra rotation. It's very flashy, but it doesn't do any extra damage. It just makes it harder on you as the performer.
I think we can have a bigger conversation about finishes that are harder on the performer.
Oh, we will. We should. That's a list on Mikey. There's a list we should do for the channel at that point. Finishers that are harder on the performer.
Yeah, we can save that for a big ending. Okay, and let's
Will it
move.
be happy though?
No. Sad, unenthusiastic.
Kind of like this promo that came up after us, right? I don't want to crap on Ethan Page, but it just was not another good promo.
It was a good tribute to Christopher Daniels. Aside from that, it existed. I'm getting really, really bored with this.
Mikey has to think about this.
Quarter ego, half ego, eighth of an ego. I'm done.
I'm at about a half ego. I don't know about you.
Oh my goodness. I think this promo, I didn't necessarily like it. I like Ethan Page. This promo did nothing. What we got after his match to me was a lot better, but kind of.
Is Christopher Daniels retiring? Is that what we're getting from this, basically?
Bro, he's the head of HR. Like, is he really retired? Like, is he really going to be retired?
He's beating up his employees, so he probably has to be fired at some point.
Yeah, but what a great route for retirement. Hey, have all these matches and lose every one of them.
That's the way to go out. That's when most guys, like, you go out on the mat.
When you retire, yeah, exactly.
Over. Yeah, I get that, but can we have one win in there along the at least have like a best of 3 kind of setup match and have him win one so he gets a win
Jesse.
and not punk out like Kurt Angle against Baron Corbin.
Ooh, so Jesse, I do agree with you in this sense, but then again, because of how long Christopher Daniels' career has been, I feel at this point I'm okay with him taking as many losses as he can, or that he is, given the fact that he's been pretty much wrestling on every iteration of television wrestling for the last 20 years. In a small little indie
back
promotion.
in the days of Toots Mond and the early Carney days. Christopher Daniels.
There was a small little indie promotion called TNA that JVL loves to remind me about.
I loved TNA before.
What, trademarks not applied?
Trademarks not applied. Anyways, by the way, it's weird, but like in a great way. As a side note, I get to see Christopher Daniels still wrestle, and then I get to see his tag team partner over in another promotion, which I'm going to talk about later tonight. Because Lord have mercy, the 2 out of 3 falls match between him and Eddie Edwards was way too long.
Oh my
But
lord! I saw that advertised, and I know you're going to talk about it. It's going to be good, but we have to move on to other matches we have on the card here on AEW because we got through that promo quickly, got the flowers for that. Talked about Ethan Page saying if he can get his 5th win, he'll be in Eddie Kingston's rear view going for that title. If that's what it takes at this point, why hasn't Dalton Castle gotten a shot at the title?
Rear view. Okay, I didn't hear view at first.
Yes, his rear view. But we had another match I really actually enjoyed for being the kind of squash it was. Billy Starks versus Rochelle
Rochelle Riveter.
Rochelle Riveter. Let's say that again. Rochelle Riveter. We're going to get her name out there for SEO value. But Billy Starks with Athena in her corner, and the Minion took it to the jobber in a lot of different ways.
It was surprisingly quick, but I mean, it was a squash, but I enjoyed it. I enjoy seeing Billy get a quick match like that, a quick squash like that. I love her sequence where she does that underhook face buster and goes right into the choke, like that rear naked choke. It's a good visual. It's a good sequence moves. I'm happy. I hope she can keep that as her finish.
It's the best of a lot of different styles at once in that finisher, because you go from a power move into a technical lock that is ridiculous as it goes that way and takes her right out. One negative I did have on this is that I know Billy Starks knows how to do a lot of the stuff she's doing a lot better than she is acting it at this point. Looking to Athena for coaching, all that stuff. Billy is called the Prodigette for a reason. She is insanely talented. But I think she's doing an amazing bit of character work here, like kind of playing that greener wrestler than she really is, and then whipping out these devastating moves.
Yeah, and I've noticed that she's looking for the approval from Athena. There was one point she asked, do I go for a big move or a small move here? And Athena's go big, go big. So Athena coaching on the outside was fun, but it's kind of cool to see the character work there from Billy because she's doing it very convincingly.
And she's just cute to watch her celebrate too. Like she's like, "Oh, you're so
She's
cute."
so happy. I love it.
And they get their asses handed to them.
Yes, protect Billy Starks, but let's talk about the real thing, because if we don't get a tag team match at some point between these two, I'll be like, waste, because Mercedes Martinez and Diamante come down and they literally beat the brakes off of Billy Starks. Athena steps in. Please give me a tag team match between these two. I'm so excited.
It's a ladder match. It's a fanny pack on the pole match.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I need the fanny pack.
Please.
Can we have Lexi Nair at ringside?
Special guest referee.
Or have that'd be so great.
So you like this idea?
So many possibilities.
I just want these 4 women to fight. Like, that's all I want to see.
Take that, clip that out of context. That is a horrible statement to say, but honestly, you're right. We need to have these 4 women fight at some point and fight in a different way than most people.
We finally got Mikey's blackmail clip.
You got to try harder than that. I'm too lovable.
So you are extremely lovable, Mikey. And honestly, I thought about how lovable you are, and I thought about you in general when this next match popped up, because we've been talking about this wrestler for
oh my gosh, he's on my screen actually wrestling and winning, and on top of that, he beat the dead rock that is Anthony Henry, who is dragging JD Drake down to the bottom of the ocean.
I've got to just put it here. When Henry came in and he did his pose on the ropes, I'm like, okay, generic pose 1, because you don't raise your arms to do anything else. And he said, "Let's go." I'm like, oh my god,
It's not a matter that he can't do. It's not a matter of he won't do anything else. It's a matter that he can't, allegedly.
He just gives me nothing to care about. The whole time I'm watching the entrances for this match, the first that I wrote down was, I would rather have Kip Sabian versus JD Drake, or Kip Sabian versus Penelope Ford, or JD Drake versus Penelope Ford in this match.
Honestly, Penelope Ford needs to fight all the guys, because she would take them, and I would love to see that more than anything.
Oh, I'm not even saying that satirically. I would have rather had those matches.
No, I'm dead serious.
Henry in here.
Like, Penelope Ford has had matches where she fought dudes. It was great, and she can beat a lot of these dudes in the ring.
Well, and on top of that, get her with the bunny again and have them be the final girls. That is one of the best tag teams out there to be taking people on.
Again, why are we wasting potential?
I don't know, but Kip Sabian. This is the other thing about that. In the first bit of the match as well, I realized Sabian had to telegraph what he was doing to Anthony Henry. To be like, okay, we're grabbing here and we're doing this. The first counter and moveset they did was all Sabian walking Henry through the first part of this match. Then it kind of picked up, but he was just Kip is so cool and so fluid, and I was so sad how wasted he was on AEW when he first came in. We need more of this Kip Sabian. We need more of the man that was in the bidding war from 3 different companies to get him. Like, this is what we need.
He needs to be pushed into the main event scene quickly.
Backflip cannonball, everybody.
And this is on topic, off topic in the quality of the match. He has some amazing hair.
Listen, as one of the resident bisexual guys here on this, Kip Sabian is a good-looking man, and he will let you know immediately. But he also carries himself very, very well, as we saw during the All-In 0 hour kind
Pre-show
of
on 0 Hour.
pre-show. Okay. Yeah, with him and put him and Renee on anything, and I will watch it immediately.
Yeah, I could see that. It's almost like the hair, though. I'm so jealous and in love with it. It's almost like the Pikes Peak level.
A little bit, yeah. It's because they got the fluffy back with a big top. It's really.
I want to see him and Dalton Castle fight. Like, I think that'd be the greatest thing on the planet.
Or team up and have the
or
boys and
team up.
Penelope Ford at the boys and Penelope Ford at ringside, and they carry her in.
Yes.
Yeah, I need that. I need that in my life very, very soon. All right, now are we still talking about that match?
No, because we moved on to something just as boring.
Stop. Let's just stop. Because I need full disclaimer here. I was having such a good time watching this show. Such a good time. It was fun. No. I was invested. I liked the matches. I liked the performers. I liked where it was going. And then this happened.
Poor Griff Garrison.
And I almost had blood shoot out my nose.
Whoa.
Are you okay?
No, get him off my screen.
Get Cole Carter off your screen?
Yeah. This is the next chapter of the Mommy Dearest saga that is Cole Carter, Maria Kanellis, and Lord have mercy.
I'm so sick of the hot mom shtick. Get it out of here.
They got Griff to say it.
Maria is tired of it. You can tell she's tired of it. Listen, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, cool. I've spent enough time talking about this. You two can talk about it. I'm ready to move on when you are.
Okay. I don't know what's worse, having Griff here or what his former tag team partner is currently, his character over in NXT.
His name?
Oh my God. Yeah. We'll talk off camera because that was a choice.
Lexus King instead of Brian Pillman Jr. We'll talk about it later. But
we'll talk off
this
camera.
Was a waste. It was a waste of Griff. It was a waste of everything else. And we had 2 creator wrestlers in back-to-back segments. I think someone left their PS4 on too long. It was just too bad.
I will continue to say it. Like, in the words of Maxine Waters, I want to reclaim my time. That is what I want. I'm here to reclaim my time.
100%. So let's reclaim time like Christopher Daniels is, still moving around like the age he is, taking on Ethan Page in the semi-main event. This could have also main evented the pay-per-view. I say pay-per-view.
This was fun.
ROH this evening.
This was fun. I still think Willow.
It was just a great, solid match by a couple of veterans
that respect the hell out of each other.
Yeah, I was very happy with it. That running STO that Christopher Daniel does, that nobody else can do it like him, is always a beautiful thing to see. It was a good match. I was shocked that the Ego's Edge actually hit this time. It's the first time in 5 attempts.
Plus the fact that he hasn't done it much on regular TV either. Like, he really hasn't hit his finisher in probably over about 6 months. The fact that he knew how to do it is surprising, but it was a very competitive match and very much like 2 guys going, yeah, let's go through some fun stuff here. Christopher Daniels is like, I'm game for anything you want to do. Like, I'll take the bumps you want me to take, and it really came. And then him giving him his flowers at the end, which was so amazing. But also saying, I've got the mic, I run how this goes. You got the ego. And then we have Ethan Page's next rivalry set up there. And Mikey, did you expect this person to show up with Mark Sterling to do this for him?
Well, at least it gives Ethan something to do instead of just facing random people. So I'm kind of here for it. However, the only issue I have is if this is going to be used to build up Ethan Page to be the next challenger, whether it be Samoa Joe's title or to go after Eddie Kingston's title. I don't know if Tony was the right person for it because of the fact that Tony has been losing a lot recently. So I feel, and see, here's the thing too. I don't know how it would work, and I need to see more of Ethan's technical wrestling because the TV title I think would be a good thing for him. The Ring of
Yeah.
Honor Championship eventually would be a good thing for him because I don't want Eddie to lose it yet. I just need the only area that I need Ethan to per se evolve in is like the technical style because right now Shibata is really, as of right now, who we've seen so far, Shibata's only real competition at the moment is Josh Woods. That's it. Everybody else is kind of getting there, but not really. But I think
Lee,
this is
Lee
would be
Moriarty's trying
this
to
is
set himself there, but he's not there yet.
yeah, no, he's listen. I love Tiger Style, but him and his Frank Ocean looking ass needs to get away from Shane Taylor as fast as possible. He looks
100%.
more and more like Frank Ocean every time he comes out in like these hoodies and these like sweatshirts. I'm like, sir, are you about to sing "A Tornado Flew Around in My Room Before It Came"? Like, what is happening? But back to Ethan. I think Ethan versus Tony is going to be a lot of fun, though I don't know what this does for Tony because he's been on the losing end, as I said before, a lot.
I think they're contractually obligated to have him do his promo, even if he doesn't have a match for the night, on how fat people are and what goes on. So obviously they had to get him on the show to do that to somebody and set it up for next time.
The insult the crowd clause.
Exactly. Tony, I won't win most weeks, but I get to insult the crowd and everywhere I go.
Oh my goodness.
So we've set that match up for next week. As I said, Mark Sterling's going to be very, very busy next week with all of his clients having big matches. We'll see if they come out. I think he's going to be 1-1. It's not going to be both wins at that point. But then we go on to the Men of the Year partner of Ethan Page as Scorpio Sky takes on Darius Martin in our main event. I'll say this first. The athleticism of both these men cannot be denied. And when commentary said it was like the older version of Sky and the younger version of Martin of the same wrestler fighting each other, I saw that in the way they moved around. Did I need to watch a match that long of these two working together in this spot? Or could I have watched Layla Hirsch, Willow Nightingale, and had the beatdown angle afterwards and be completely satisfied? You do the math. Seriously, like, was there anything to pull from this match that we got that put Scorpio Sky over in your mind, or put Darius Martin over in your mind more than we had seen the last couple of weeks?
No, I my notes were pretty simple for this one. The match was good enough, but it shouldn't have been the main event. They agree.
They agree.
It was okay. It was athletic. There's a lot of good spots. The backbreaker looked painful, which was good, but the crowd was flat. They weren't really into it, and again, it just should not have been the main event.
Mikey?
My notes are the same that I said last week when Scorpio Sky took on Fred Roser.
Fred Rosser.
This match was serviceable. I like Scorpio Sky, but damn, being out with an injury for so long really killed his momentum. And he's not clicking. See, I can get behind Scorpio because I've gotten more time to know him, but since coming back from injury, there's something that is not clicking with the audience, and the way that he's being booked currently in Ring of Honor is also not clicking. Like the matches are fine, like it's fun to watch. I think Scorpio is talented, but nothing is clicking, and so far what we've seen him booking wise doesn't make a lot of sense to me either. He's just there. He literally is, and I hate to say this, he literally is generic, like creator wrestler number 15 for me. Like he's not doing promo work where he shines really really well because he is very charismatic on the mic. His wrestling style, maybe it's because he's been out for so long and he's still trying to work through maybe like not overdoing it and to re-injure himself and whatnot. But there's something that's missing here, and if they don't fix it very soon, I'm gonna get bored of Scorpio Sky. And I'm starting to get bored just in terms of, again, his current character right now and just everything that he's wrestling is like cottage cheese, if that makes any sense. It's nutritional, it's serviceable when you put some Frito Lays on that thing, but it is not the most appealing thing right now. I'm Mexican, okay? Cottage
The
cheese is a
views of
thing in this
Mikey do
household.
not represent the views of the BC WrestlePod crew. Cottage cheese and Frito-Lay chips are interesting. It's salty.
We
And
appreciate the
that's
dairy
how
farmers of America.
I'm feeling about this whole thing. Is just like I'm very salty of how Scorpio Sky is being booked because it's not clicking with the audience, it's not clicking with me, and I'm disappointed.
Scorpio basically has come back like Charlotte Flair, thinking he should be in the main event or around the main event, but he hasn't earned it in ROH in front of all this crowd. And the problem is, unlike Ethan Page, who is doing these promos that are like promoting himself about like the change in his character and what he's doing there, Scorpio Sky is just generic, like, I'm going to win because I'm awesome, and you should think I'm awesome, and now I'm going to go do this match and show how athletic I am. And nothing
Just
else.
let Scorpio talk on the mic. Just let him talk on the mic. I swear you will win people over. Just let him talk on the mic.
Have him and Ethan run into each other backstage just for the hell of it and reignite that. They don't have to be on the same team, but then you got some history to play with. Overall, gentlemen, I think we had a decent time with this. We enjoyed what we could of it for certain pieces. There were pieces that really didn't need to be there. I'd love to know, how many empanadas are we getting in the basket from each of you for these?
Mikey, why don't you go first?
Come on, salty, spicy Mikey.
Salty Spicy Mikey, who is currently fighting a head cold, is going to give this week's Ring of Honor out of 10 empanadas. I'm going to give this a serviceable 6.8 out of 10 empanadas.
I thought we
Again,
were doing 5 empanadas.
At double what you're going to do, and that'll make it.
Okay.
Yeah.
listen, I'm a big boy, okay? I eat a lot, so we're making it 10.
This is
But
a depressing week for a lot of people, and it was Friday the 13th. We need 10 empanadas.
listen, after the
For
week
me,
I've had,
I enjoyed it. I feel like they're really coming along, and they could wind up firing on all cylinders very soon. I'm going to give this a little optimistic 8 out of 10 empanadas. Because I had 4 out of 5, but we'll make that 8 out of 10. But I need to have a moment. I need to have a moment here with all our captive audience and the two of you as well.
Please go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlethems, come to Acre's Alcove so we can talk about something here. You have a lot of people debuting. I've been watching for 6 weeks now. If you want me fully vested, if you want my full interest in the match, I understand it's about how we're getting to the end and not the ending itself. Give the debuting people an entrance, or I am never going to believe they're a challenge to win the match. Thank you.
This has been the Acre Corner about how jobbers deserve entrances.
Acre Alcove.
Acre Alcove.
I like alliteration.
You do. I like the alliteration too. We want our jobbers and our non-signed wrestlers to have their entrances.
Make it believable.
Give us something to work for. I'll take it from there on this. So what was you were 8 out of 10. I was smack dab in the middle of you two. I gave this about a 7 out of 10 empanadas. It was not terrible. It was not on the level where Dynamite was last night. It was definitely serviceable, and I enjoyed taking the time out of my day to watch it. But where's my Dalton Castle?
no.
Where's my Athena wrecking house of people? Where is most of the other people that you were trying to push?
Where are the Iron Savages?
Where are the Iron Savages?
I mean,
Where are they? Right there on Mikey. That has been our Bi-Conic's review of Honor. I'm going to stick my hand in here and shake hands with Mikey. I'm going to shake hands with Jesse. I'm going to observe the code of honor. I had a blast doing this. Any last thoughts from you two before we say goodnight to our lovely Bi-Conic's wrestling fans?
Have a good Friday the 13th. Well, the 14th or whenever you may be watching this.
subscribe to Ring of Honor, please. Give it a shot. It's actually really, really good. We talk a lot of crap, but we really do enjoy it.
We do. And also subscribe to the BC Wrestle Pod on YouTube. Go on Instagram, on TikTok. Find us there. Leave us a comment. Subscribe. Share the videos. Talk to us about things. We're also passing along all of our thoughts and our hopes and our prayers to the folks over there in Israel and Palestine, hoping that people are safe and people are taken care of. And just remember always on this one, you're Bi-Conic. We're all Bi-Conic. And we love sharing this wacky art form with you at all times, especially when it's fun like this. And we'll see you in the next video.